Time for a Change. Time for a Change radio show with Sherry.
And McYon.
And we here. We in the house. You know that every first and second Monday of the month, we come straight to you on elifemedia.net. And we come talking about change, the different things in our community that we need to discuss. Unhealthy relationships, domestic violence, domestic abuse, sexual abuse. We talk about the warning signs and how to empower and triumph over abusive relationships. And we also talk about love and marriage after abuse, right? Because it is love and it is potential to have a happy and healthy relationship after something that's been so tragic to you. So today we're going to discuss all kinds of things, and we're opening up the lines today for you to call in. So definitely take the time to call in. Just call and tell us how cute we are or something, but call in, okay? So it's 240-455-5934. Again, that's 240-455-5934. If you have any questions, a story you want to share, or a conversation that you'd like for us to talk about, we'd love to hear from you, okay?
Join us.
So we're going to do our In the News segment.
Yes.
And there's a lot going on in the news, as we know, right?
So much violence in the news.
Yeah, it's so much violence. And what do they call it? Domestic terrorism.
Yes.
Domestic terrorism, what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Yeah.
To watch that video of that young man mow those people down like they were nothing, just shows you the disconnect that so many people have with where we are in the world today.
Yeah,
they're totally disconnected. Just evil. And
evil.
To be so disconnected from humanity, to feel like you have the right, or you know what I mean, to go ahead and mow people down, it's just crazy.
It's absolute. And I still don't have the words, because it feels like I'm reliving the stories of
that
the
we
50s
used to hear.
and the 60s of what we used to hear from our grandparents and stuff, of how they were abused with water hoses and dogs for trying to get civil rights.
Yeah.
Not even equal rights, but civil rights. Our own civil rights to be considered a human.
Yeah.
And then to vote and those types of things. And when I seen it, I just gasped, because I couldn't believe it, that somebody will take their car and just maul down a group of people like that. And then one of the ladies lost her life in that.
Yeah.
And I seen another story today that they told the police to actually stand down, to not get involved in it.
I was listening to that, and I couldn't understand, had they told them to stand down before, I think, because they attempted to go into a neighborhood that they weren't welcomed, and when they were turned away, they were celebrating that they were turned away, that they were able to get the group to turn away. Mm-hmm. So they were kind of like celebrating, and I think that's when they were saying they felt like there was no threat, so they didn't move on anything. But but then like you said, I heard another story where they were saying that when people started coming into the park from different ways in different areas, it got out of control. I don't know if that really had anything to do. Why weren't they perimetered around these folks, to see that car was coming from a distance? Because you could have seen, what I mean? I don't know. It just didn't make any sense to me.
It didn't make no sense to me at all, because, if we go back to the protesters that we've seen in Baltimore, the police had all those streets locked down. You wasn't able to take a car and ride it through.
Not only did the police have it knocked down, but they even had barriers that had already been moved in, and kind of, why didn't they have this set up? Because they knew that this was going to be a very controversial protest. They knew this.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And to not be prepared for anything. Even the journalists that came prepared with bulletproof vests and, you know what I mean? So why weren't they prepared for this? I really just, think that I hate to
think
say that the
let's
us and the
just say it
them.
and be
I know
truthful
it's the us
for
and
what
them.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is us and them, and I really believe that they came in knowing that it was going to be an issue, because when you have people that angry and that mad at each other, you're going to get a confrontation.
And you know, I'm just going to throw this out here for free, and I know some people are not going to agree with me, but but it's okay for protesters to walk up and down the street and voice their concerns and what they believe in, right? And whether they like other races or not, right? They have the right to do that, but Colin Kaepernick can't kneel.
Oh my goodness!
How is
peacefully?
He
can't kneel peacefully.
He didn't bother anybody, and for real, none of the viewers would have even known that he was kneeling if media didn't make a big deal out of it, right?
Absolutely.
Like we never saw him kneeling because it wasn't not until they started to zero in on it and every game to make a big deal out of it. But so we really would have never known that that was even happening. But you know, I just feel like, how is it okay, you know, that it's okay for them to march up and down the street and say
the KKK, a known hate group,
the kneel, not to say what they want and what they agree, and I mean what they want and what they believe, but it's not okay for someone to kneel because of what he believes. He's not saying out of any disrespect to anybody, out of any disrespect
to the military, because they was trying to make that a big issue that he was disrespecting the military.
Do I think that he could have announced it first and maybe announced as to why he was doing it instead of just doing it and then having to respond? I think it may have been a little different. But how is that any different? I don't get it.
And my thing is that when they say that we have a right in this country, he had a right to kneel.
He has a right.
I mean, there's plenty of Jehovah's Witnesses that I watch all through school that never stood for the flag.
Hello?
That never stood for any of those things. So why all of a point?
And folks from other countries.
Absolutely.
That have never stood for the flag. And like you said, Jehovah's Witnesses that are born right here in the United
that are
States.
Americans. They never stood for that.
Don't stand for it.
Right.
And so how is it a huge deal? I don't know. I don't get it. You know what I mean?
It's all about propaganda. They're making it a big issue because one man has woke up, and to say that those words to that song I don't agree with, because that song talks about freedom, but they wasn't talking about me.
They wasn't talking about me though.
They wasn't talking about me in that song. So that's not my freedom. That's not who it's about. You know, so he has every right to protest that song, and I stand with him 100%. I love my Washington Redskins, but I will not be watching.
Yeah, it's going to be
season.
hard.
It's going to be very hard because I love football. I love football Sunday.
Your Facebook is popping.
I love football. I love football,
but I won't be watching.
But I won't be watching.
Yeah.
You got about 30 cities represented and a Parliament Funkadelic. I'm sorry, former Parliament Funkadelic drummer.
Woo! Okay.
And you know, if you'd like to, just call in, because like I said, I'm open to hearing everybody's point of view. It's not just mine. I'm open to hearing everybody's point of view. I'm not. It's 240-455-5934. Again, that's 240-455-5934.
Can I have my point of view?
Okay. Call in, guys, and let us know what you think.
So go ahead, Roland.
Let me hear producer right now.
Yeah, let me hear what you have to say about it.
Oh, thank you. Producers, we're so maligned.
Push back.
So look, I ain't gonna hold you long, but I will say this, and you all made some very poignant points. The first thing is, let me ask you a question. If black folks walked into a rally wearing Army gear, helmets, tiki torches, open carry guns, and combat gear, what would happen?
They taking us down.
They would shoot them.
They taking us down.
Kill.
Okay.
They would
they taking us down.
Them. That's what they would do.
Just a question.
It would be like we at war.
Oh, they taking us down.
War.
Mm-hmm. We'd have many more casualties than we had than one.
The National Guard would have been called in.
Yeah.
You have a caller?
Mm-hmm.
Hello,
Hey, caller.
Welcome to Time for Change.
Hey, good evening. How are y'all?
Fine,
We're
and
good.
you?
How are you?
Doing just fine. Got to give a shout out to my boy Bubba Grimes, who I went to high school with. He was on the football team, star athlete. So I'm proud of my brother.
All right, thank you, my brother.
Shout out.
Yeah, this is Stuart from Alexandria. I got to tell you, you made a very good point about Colin Kaepernick kneeling. You know, I find it interesting that everybody jumps on Kaepernick for kneeling during the national anthem. But when it comes to people eating during the anthem, talking during the anthem, texting during the anthem, screaming red and O during the anthem, people look the other way on it. Now, why is that, I wonder?
Absolutely.
Because
Because I would think it would all be considered
it
disrespect.
should be, right? You would
Because
think
you're
so.
supposed to-
More
you're
disrespectful
supposed to
than
be
what Kaepernick's
honoring, right?
doing.
I totally agree with you, caller, because, you know, you can't sugarcoat one thing and make shit out of another.
Uh-oh, chicken
Right.
salad out of chicken
So,
Stuart, that's what the family say.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
go ahead, Sherry.
you know, it just doesn't make sense, you know, and how you can, and then to blackball this one individual when you have allowed in the NFL a man that on camera beat and knocked his current wife unconscious,
Unconscious.
and you know what I mean, and you did. What is the man who did with the dogs? And you know how folks are about the animals now, right? He
Michael
didn't-
Vick.
Yeah,
Michael Vick.
he. You know, I just don't get it, and he wasn't causing any pain or anything to anybody.
You have a very valid point. Now, remember now, since he sat down during the national anthem, hundreds of athletes sat down and sat out the national anthem. Nothing happened to them. So there's something significant about Colin Kaepernick. Stuart, you still online?
Yes, sir.
The first thing about Colin Kaepernick is the position he plays.
Okay,
The
'cause
team
he's a
leader.
quarterback.
He's considered the leader.
He's a
Calling the
quarterback. And quarterback historically
He's a
is played
quarterback.
by what kind of person?
White
All
people.
right.
Exactly. Not being negative, just being truthful about it.
No, you're right.
And you know, during our era, we couldn't get a black quarterback on the field to save our lives, right?
Right.
We got
Right.
Doug Williams. We were excited.
Doug Williams, man, we go back to James Harris.
Well, yeah.
And remember, Doug Williams was a start and somebody got hurt.
Yeah.
You know, so you have that number one. It's the position that he plays is the most high profile position on the field.
Right.
And the camera is always following who? The quarterback. The reporters are always talking to who?
The quarterback.
Who gets invited to all the press conferences? Who's supposed to go to the golf tournaments and stuff like that?
Okay.
So that's number one, most visible guy
Okay.
on the field, right? The second thing, I don't know if you know this, but you should know this now. This whole thing about people standing up for the national anthem during games, folklore says it started in late 1960s with the NFL. That during the Vietnam War, to show a sign of patriotism, doing a live broadcast of an NFL game, the commissioner, Pete Rozelle, asked that the national anthem be played and people stand and put their hand over their hearts as a sign of patriotism during the Vietnam War.
Okay.
So this is not a right. It is neither a mandate.
Right.
This was also something that was started as part of a symbol during the game. Now, what happens is folks take it someplace else. You can always take something someplace else.
Right.
But that didn't exist for 300 years prior to that day. Just sharing that with you.
Wow.
Well, you know, that's good information to know, though. It really is. Caller, you want to make any more comments?
Just keep keeping it real and keep on doing the good work you're doing.
Aw,
Thank you so
thank
much,
you.
Stuart. You
I
have a great
appreciate it.
day.
Where's he calling
All
from?
right,
Where are you
God
calling
bless.
from again?
Alexandria.
Alexandria, Virginia,
Awesome.
in the house. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Take care.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Thank you for calling in.
Stuart made a great point.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
definitely made a great point about that. You know, that I just don't understand. I do understand the whole thing. Is because just like Bubba said, is that, you know, he's the mouthpiece, so they want to shut the mouthpiece up. You know, because everybody is watching him. And then he has all these other people that's coming behind him that have decided to sit down. So they say, okay, well, let's make an example out of him,
Yeah.
and then we can keep all the rest of them in line.
I was kind of shocked to see a lot of, when I'm reading on Facebook, I'm kind of shocked to see a lot of people's responses to this. And, you know, especially us in our community, you know, they've been very negative. It's been like, why would I not watch the NFL and jeopardize other players, salaries and different things like that. And why would I do that? And, sometimes folks don't see the bigger picture. I wonder what Rosa Parks thought when she sat down on that bus. Did she think to herself that, oh, I'm jeopardizing,
everybody else
getting a ride? Or am I finally standing up for the cause? And am I finally saying, you know what, enough is enough, and I'm tired?
Well,
you know what I mean?
And the one who does it is the one who isn't carrying the concerns that you mentioned a little earlier. 99% of us might be having all kinds of other issues, but the ones who really do take that kind of active process in a protest, they're the ones who've gotten over this. Now, the real funny thing is, have you heard from folks when they say, like, Colin Kaepernick, they said they don't mind him protesting, but he's protesting the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
And then a lot of people
the right
invoke
way.
Martin Luther King and says that was the proper way to protest, nonviolent, didn't desecrate the flag and stuff like that. Have you all heard people say
Yeah.
things
I've heard
like
that,
that?
yeah.
Okay, so now, let's do a chronology real quick, because Martin Luther King, peaceful, didn't desecrate the flag, said nothing to nobody, right?
Right.
Okay. Was arrested dozens of times. House was bombed.
Yep.
Stabbed within an inch of his heart, had dogs, fire hoses put on him, and in the end had half his face shot off.
Yes.
But he protested the right way.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
You know what? You
Yeah.
got to wake up.
Better wake up.
Yeah, you better wake up, because it doesn't matter how you do it.
Damned if you do.
Damned if you don't. It doesn't matter how you do it. Point is that you better not do it. Okay? And the protests, I feel like, like Roland was saying, that yes, he did it peacefully, and it started a worldwide movement, right? So that's what I was saying to people. Like, okay, so a young man posted on his Facebook the other day, Sean Trudeau, a guy I went to school with. He said, I don't mind supporting the protest. And he's a football fan. He's like, I don't mind supporting the protest. I see what you're saying. I see where you're going. But what are we going to do as a community with it? Right? So exactly, this needs to be organized. This needs to be thought out, a process, and so that we can move on it and make it a movement. Because you're right. Yeah, just because we turn off the TV and we're not watching, yeah, it cuts down on their viewership. Yeah, it cuts down on, the marketing ads or the people that come down, or paying big money for this advertising or whatever. But how else can we make this have a huge impact on our community?
Shoot,
It's economics.
Yes,
And it's through economics.
Do what Ice Cube did for basketball. Get our own league. Let's start our own football league and take all our black
And the
players
bad part is
and
do we
everybody.
have anybody that has bought into football like they've bought into basketball?
Okay, now, understand. I don't know about Miami Dolphins have a group ownership now, and that includes people like Serena Williams, et cetera, where they're somehow stakeholders in the team.
Okay.
But for the most part, the NFL is an association of 32 people. 32,
I heard that.
right, 32 individuals who really don't give a damn about you.
Right.
They're billionaires before, because you can't buy an NFL team without being a billionaire from the jump.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And billionaires get to create their own reality.
Right.
That's the way that it goes. The fortunate part about it is that everyone in America benefits from the fact that black folks are so fractionalized that we cannot come up with a single effective process for protest and effective change all the way across the board without somebody's idiosyncrasy or personal feelings getting
Yeah.
involved with it.
Yeah.
So if we can come up with one thing that all of us can do, the Jews don't have that problem.
Not at all.
Yeah, they
Right.
don't.
Right. But the fact that we lost our culture, lost our religion, 400 years of slavery plus Jim Crow plus the way that we are trained in schools today takes away some of our ability to process collective organization.
Right.
Now, Sherry McYown, do me a favor and think of one single thing that the sisters that a large majority of sisters will do and the brothers will follow. Because it ain't going to be the other way around. Because even in this NFL thing, it is funny, but for every 10 black men I talk to, 6 or 7 of them say, I'm boycotting. For every black woman I talk to, 2 or 3 say they're boycotting.
Okay.
They're more stuck on the NFL than the brothers.
Okay.
So if you all ponder and maybe put it out there as a question, what one thing do you think the sisters would do and the rest of us would follow? Because once you get the women, the kids will follow, because kids do what mama say anyway, and then it makes it easier for the men.
Well, you know, first women have to become educated on the whole issue, first of all. Because, like I said on the post the other day, people are so busy just being comfortable that they just don't want to do anything any different. And for us to bring up, and like I said, when I see these responses, they're coming from women. So it's the women that are not really opening their minds and opening their thoughts to, you know, that this can work. Because the other woman said that, you know, she wasn't supporting it because she just didn't see the point. How is it that you don't see the point? You know what I mean?
I guess
How is it
because-
that you don't see the point? But I would love to know if any females out there listening, if you heard Roland's question, what is one thing that sisters can do that the men will follow, and you know what can they do, and what role as a woman do you think that you have in this whole process? Because of course the NFL is men, right?
No.
Well,
Oh, you mean the players?
players,
Okay.
and most of the coaching staff is men, right?
Yeah. The personnel is male.
Yeah.
When you look at the stadiums now,
Right. Oh, stadiums, right? It's full of women.
and
Yeah.
you look at who's watching it.
They've also accommodated. They've catered to the women by giving us pink jerseys, and you know, so we're
They have
a
finally let us
huge.
in. Now we can finally talk during the game. Because we know that we've been educated a little bit more on
We're
the
a
whole
huge-
sport, so
And
now
it's a-
it's
and
more
it's a-
acceptable.
And McKeown, it's a beautiful thing.
It is.
I missed y'all during my era of playing football. You know, I was at Syracuse, and the sisters really they went to basketball games. They didn't really come to the football games. You know, yes, I said it. You know?
And see, I grew up in a football
See, I
family,
grew up in
so
a football
we
family,
always
yeah.
loved we
Yeah.
always loved our
Always loved
Redskins. Always
football.
had football parties. You know, since I was young, always had our team shirts on. and
Daddy wouldn't
everything. We
have it
was
no
ready.
other way.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were ready. My mom was a diehard football fan.
But you know, that's a good question, because I do feel like if the women were more supportive and stood up and were like, okay, you know what, enough is enough. It's women that
that's-
started the Black Lives Movement. It's women that, you know, so I do believe that if women were to stand up and say, you know what, I'm supporting Colin Kaepernick. I totally understand where he's going with this. And,
Yeah, make a PSA. I'll start earning on here and share it with everybody else.
But we have to have something in place to replace it with.
I agree.
That's
You
a
know
good
what I'm
point.
saying? So if that's your Sunday and your Sunday is dedicated to football, then maybe we need to get those dads and those moms out and doing something with the children. Maybe you need to get some education. Maybe you should teach them some science to know how to have a healthy relationship. Maybe you should teach them about a good touch, bad
That's
touch.
right.
Maybe you should pull out a few more books that they need to read. You know, but do
Exactly.
something that's going to empower your family.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, that's
know
a
what I'm
great
saying?
question. So let me ask you:
I agree.
Have you ever gone a Sunday without watching a football game?
I have. I have.
And
Not-
did you
yeah.
direly miss it when you didn't?
Yeah.
No, I didn't because my recap of the news was enough
Well,
for
yeah.
me.
Then
Recap of the news was enough with the
Sports
highlights.
Center, whatever, right?
Sports-
Yeah,
Center,
with the
yeah.
highlights and
That's
everything,
true.
it was
So
enough.
it wasn't
of
like it was mixed.
You know, you seen all the best plays. They didn't already broke it down for you. Got all the
But
best plays.
I do like the last
and everything.
2 quarters, though. I
You
do like
know?
the last.
The second half, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I do like the second half. So, but yeah, that's a good question. I would really like to hear from people to see what they have to say about it, because, you know, in actuality, it is something that I think, of course, it'll be, if it doesn't work, everybody will be out on Facebook again. That wasn't going to work. No way, I told
Well,
you.
I mean,
it wasn't
But
going to
they're
work.
looking forward
so-
to not succeed.
Right.
So here's the thing: in terms of it didn't work. Let me today I have great news for you. Today I saw. Let me tell you something. There's a black quarterback at Cleveland named Deshaun Kaiser, who they're now predicting will probably be the starter for the Cleveland Browns. and he's out of Notre Dame. I saw more black quarterbacks. Now, of course, it's preseason and some are going to get cut, but I saw more black quarterbacks on the field with different teams in the highlights I saw today than anything else. So it's not, again, the issue and the thing that we're trying to get, we have to get done is for the owners of the teams to come out and renounce their statements that said we're going to blackball this guy, he can never play for us, and telling you Negroes how y'all need to protest. So what we need to, the outcome has to be owners come out and say, no, we're going to embrace, let's sit down and have a dialogue and let's embrace what's going on as opposed to us telling you what we're not going to do. Now, other than that, whether Colin Kaepernick plays or does play, you still got the same issue, same
you still
problem.
got the same issue.
So
Right?
do you
my
think?
thing is when it comes to dealing with billionaires, the only thing that they understand is money. So this movement to show them who we are, it's going to have to come in an
It's gonna have to
economical.
hit 'em.
Right, and it's not the owners that's going to give a damn, it's the sponsors.
Right.
Right, so where the women come in is this. Women control, black women especially, I mean,
Yeah.
I know other cultures, but black women probably control 90% of all consumer decisions in the black community.
Yeah.
Would you disagree?
I agree.
Totally agree with that.
There it is.
Totally agree with
Yeah.
that.
You have to stop
There it is.
supporting them.
There it is.
Yeah.
And
Don't
that's
go to
true.
Papa John's.
Yeah, let
Can't
them
go to
know,
Papa
listen,
John's.
And let them know, Papa John, we're not supporting you because of this.
You walk into Papa John's and they say, can I help you? You say, hell no. And you turn and you walk away and you tell them why. And then another group goes in, hell no. And you turn and you walk away and you tell them why. And then you continue to do that across the board with every single, you get your Budweiser and you put it on the counter and they get ready to ring it up. You say, what? Hell no.
Hell
and then
no.
you walk out.
Right.
And you say, we are not going to purchase from the companies that are promoting and supporting the NFL right now until they, as corporations, do what Procter & Gamble just did and put
Oh,
that,
yeah.
right, and put the talk out there, and until they come to the table with the owners and to the table with a black community, we're not talking about Jesse and them because they can be co-opted.
Right.
We're talking about you come into our communities and our neighborhoods, and let's have town hall meetings with the corporations and the NFL executives and owners and us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's even what I was saying,
That's-
even about the whole domestic violence movement against the NFL.
Remember that?
Yeah, of how we keep on saying, how do you keep on allowing these men that have blatantly abused their wives and girlfriends, and they're still able to walk out on the field. The NFL doesn't recognize, don't even wear purple to say, hey, we support domestic violence. We got all these issues, but yet they got pink breast cancer everywhere.
Everywhere.
But they won't do it. So I was telling them
Everybody.
the same thing. That's how we need to go after them with the sponsors.
I so apologize to you. My college roommate does domestic violence and relationship training with pro athletes and
I don't even want
colleges.
to talk to you.
Wow.
I so apologize.
whatever.
I'm going to get off Facebook and see if I can reach him and have him call in.
Okay.
And y'all take it from there. All
Okay.
right?
You know, because it only makes sense. You know
It
what I mean?
only makes sense.
Because and I, like you said about the pink. Now I don't have nothing against breast cancer awareness. As a matter of fact, I volunteer every year with my coworker who has a foundation for Breast Cancer Foundation. I love her mission and everything. But like you said, I don't see him doing that for purple, and even for the team that these men are on, these
Yeah.
known men that have been abusers are on. I don't see him out there wearing purple like that, and they need to start wearing some purple. We
And
need
they
some
should.
purple ribbons and some
Yeah.
purple, some purple
Everything.
little
The same
towels
thing-
sticking out
the
your
same
little
thing
thing.
they do for
Yeah,
breast cancer awareness, they need to do it for domestic violence
Right.
awareness.
yeah,
Because
totally.
they have a lot of people in the NFL that have been convicted
Mm-hmm.
of domestic violence.
Yeah.
And we have seen it. We've seen it live on TV.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just where they are. And until we demand them
To show up and
to show up and be a part of this change,
Mm-hmm.
then they're going to keep doing what they want to do. They're going to keep doing it.
yeah.
And then, like you said, at some point, we have to say enough is enough. And if women can't get on board with that and stop pointing fingers and saying, oh, she deserved it, oh, why is she there? If you haven't been through it, please don't say
And then
anything why
and-
somebody is there.
And then when that young lady married him,
Oh,
it was like, and I was one of the ones saying, there is
Typical
nothing.
victim.
But did she admit that she wailed on him too? I might have missed that.
I don't know.
Didn't she admit that she wailed on him
She
too?
admitted
know.
to
She
that she
stole
had
him?
played a part. That she had played a part. In
Yeah, but the next time he's gonna knock your ass dead. Yeah, like he knocked you unconscious. Like really. But you know, she's willing to put up with it, and I can't be sick and tired for you. You know what I'm saying? I can't. If that's what you want to put up with in your life, as much as I want you to get out, and as much as I'm gonna say, girl, what are you doing? Why you there? But you have to get sick and tired of that foolishness. And for her to go and marry him right after it happened, you know, and people were up in arms about it, I was like, ain't no point being up in arms about it, because guess what? Now she done gone back.
So you know the Dallas Cowboys just suspended their running back Ezekiel Elliott for 6 games for personal conduct unbecoming of an NFL player. He was arrested and may have been let go for lack of evidence for I say domestic violence, but it was, you know, he's not married to her or whatever, but he got into it with a female. That's probably the second time in 2 years that this issue has come up with him. So the NFL has suspended him for 6 games. I just have a question for you all, because you can help me understand some things better. Is it all what the guys are doing? Is there I don't understand the domestic violence issue as much as you do. And but I have been around ball players, and I've been around men, and I've seen some women come at men very, very aggressively, physically, verbally, and then some. And I've seen men tell them, stop, get off me, stop, leave me alone, stop, get off me. And they kept pressing them to the point where the fella snapped. And then they were charged. So is there a point at which you get my question?
Yeah, I got you.
How do we get to the point where there's some strategy in place that, and I'm just talking about these specific examples, when I saw Cat snap, and then I'm like, yo, sister, you got to back off this dude. And she kept coming at him, and he snapped, and he hit her. Now, all of a sudden, he's got the problem. But I said, he's going to snap. I've told mothers, your son is going to snap. You know, so help me understand that a little bit better, if it's possible. Is there a point where the female knows he's at the point of snapping, is told he's at the point of snapping, and she needs to back off of him?
Absolutely.
I agree.
We always say today, like, the girls are more, like, what we're noticing
More
now, that
aggressive.
the girls are very more aggressive than the boys are. And like we were
And
saying,
this is becoming intergenerational. I'm watching
Oh,
some 50.
yeah.
I'm watching 50 and 60 year olds. Like, what? I'm like, what?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
where? They're driving in front of me, talking about. Psst. I like, you just
Ready
cut
for a
me.
fight.
You just cut me off.
oh, they ready for a fight.
And they
You
my
know,
age.
And what society feeds us does not help. Okay, so let's just be honest.
Okay.
And these 40s and 50-year-olds, they out here watching this so-called reality TV
Yeah, these
also,
housewives.
and these housewives out here carrying $1,000, $2,000 bags, and they acting like straight ratchet ass hoes off of the daggone corner somewhere, and you walking around with your red bottoms on and these fly ass outfits, and you over here calling each other and your sister's a bitch, and you being real defensive and disrespectful, and then when you don't know your place. See, ladies don't act like that. Ladies don't act like that, because I have plenty of friends right now who are married and have men in their life, and they don't approach their men to be like, nigga, who you talking to? What you say? What you say out your mouth? Oh, I know you didn't say that to me, because you have to know your place. And see, we don't want to hear that nowadays.
A lot of women these days don't have respect for men. They have been taught that they don't need a man. So how do you act towards anything that you don't need?
I've been taught to be independent, but I know that I can't go around bucking at a man neither.
But I think independent is different from you don't need a man.
Yeah.
Because independent means that I want a man, but if I don't have a man, I can do it myself. I think that's what independent means. But some women say, I don't need a man.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't want a man
And that's
because
probably-
it ain't nothing he can do for me. Because all he gonna do is cheat and do this and do that.
And
And
they
that-
have
and
no
that's-
respect.
And that's
No
prob-
respect.
And that's probably a real good differentiation. I don't need a man means that you're worthless to me.
You're worthless. There ain't
I'm-
nothing I can
I'm
do with
in-
you but maybe get your money.
I'm
Bottom
independent.
line.
I'm independent could very well mean either you're worthless to me or it could mean that I have the ability, which you really do, I have the ability nowadays to change my own tire, buy my own clothes. You know, women have an income that they didn't have 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So they were totally dependent on a man to go out and hunt and fish and protect the house. Well, women got Glocks now. You know, women have credit now. Well, 70, 80 years ago, you know, banks wouldn't even loan to a woman. You know, so you couldn't get a car note.
And a woman had to be married. You had to have a husband to get
Exactly.
a loan. You couldn't even go in. Like you said, you
Exactly.
couldn't go in there as a woman.
Exactly.
And then going there as a single woman. No, you
So-
had
And
to-
you know, there's a difference between, you know, an empowered woman, like you said, an independent woman, and there's a difference in this so-called quote unquote strong woman, you know, and that's where I like to do what I do with women in empowerment sessions with women. I just want you to think independently, so that you don't lose yourself, so that you don't lose those things that you're interested in and those passions and purposes that you have for your life. That's what I want to encourage you to do and empower you with the ability to know that you have the potential to have more. But it is not to empower you to make you feel like you are now out of order, because you can't have the relationship with a man and feel like you can go at him.
Think like a man, act like a woman.
You can't do that. It's just not going to be possible. And if you're going to, like you said, she's jumping up in his face and going at him, and you know, and he's telling her to chill out, back down, chill out, and she's still jumping up at him like a man doesn't want to be with another man. If he wanted to be with another man nowadays, they can just go on and do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Okay,
then
a
women-
man doesn't want a woman that's going to be aggressive.
And you're dealing with testosterone.
Yeah.
And testosterone is something that creates fight or flight.
Fight or flight.
Right. So when that kicks in, you know, it starts at our testicles and just goes up our spinal column. And when that kicks in, the species either attacks or retreats. There's no option when it kicks in full gear, because if it doesn't do one or the other, it explode within. And if it doesn't do one or the other, oftentimes, and you guys have seen it, that man is then essentially emasculated. You know, he's never the same. And a lot of times, and I'm not flipping it around, I just want to share from this standpoint, and I remember posting on Facebook one time, when a woman puts her tongue heavily on a man and dresses him down with her tongue, he is never the same. Almost just like if a man punches a woman, she's never the same with him. When a woman, it doesn't matter culture, when a woman beats a man down with her tongue, and you go back to scripture when it says the tongue is a flame of fire, consuming fire, man can tame every beast in the universe, but who can tame the tongue? When she puts her tongue on him, it does as much damage to him psychologically, internally, as him punching her it does physically and
agree.
psychologically.
Yeah.
It's a real tough thing, because especially in African American culture, you know, we're sort of told, sisters are told, speak your mind, and if somebody don't treat you right, or you gotta, you know, you
But
let them
there's
have
a certain way that you go about it.
Okay.
There's a certain way that you go about it. I'm very verbal. Very verbal. I believe in letting people know what's on my mind, where I'm coming from, how I feel, why I feel that way. Oh my goodness, you said this, and this is how I feel, but I'm very verbal. So it's how you're gonna address that man. Like but at the same time, knowing the signs of domestic violence, like this says, gaining power and control. If I was with a man that was trying to gain power and control, and all of my everyday and my in and out was belittling me, of course I'm going to be responsive to that, because I have to now, like you said, flight or flee, right? I have to now protect myself and be in defense mode. But but when you were like the example you were giving, how the woman was just going at the man and at him and going at him, and he's like, hey, you need to calm down. Like, what's wrong with you? Chill out. Yeah, she needs to calm down. She needs to know that you don't go at him like that. But yeah, if you were in a relationship with somebody and he was totally taking power and control over you and doing and treating you like crap every single day, I can understand why she might respond in that kind of way.
She
just to save herself.
She is going to respond like that because most of the women of today, most of them have witnessed a lot of abuse growing up. So it's more so is that I'm going to get you before you get me. Mm-hmm. Women has become more aggressive with men. And a lot of times, the younger women have watched their mothers go through bad relationships with their dads or boyfriends. And and when you watch that, you say, that's not going to be me.
Right.
That's not going to be me. And so now you have a young girl growing up or a woman in a relationship that she don't second guess herself. She's going to pop off. She's going to say it the way she says. She's going to be very slick with her tongue. She may even hit him. You know what I'm saying? And then she expects for that man to hold his tongue, and if she hits him, she expects him to not hit a woman because you should be a man.
Well, that's why we need to raise, and that's why I say it starts, if we can just start with this young generation right here, on how you have a healthy relationship and how you're supposed to address things and how you're supposed to address, your mate. Maybe we'll get into a new realm where we don't have as many angry girls and boys walking around in grown people's bodies.
And that's what it
is.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have that. Maybe because, it sounds really good. And, of course, that's how we're supposed to respond. But, like you said, okay, I can't get to the young lady who's experienced it in her household. She may already be too far gone. I don't know. But let's get to the generation behind her. Shoot, I don't know. You know what I mean?
I don't know, last week or the week before, I was ill, and I had to shut it down for a minute. And I turned on the television, and oh my goodness gracious, every other show was anger and
it's crazy.
And killing and Game of Thrones and power and what's the name? Survivor's remorse. I mean, it's so much debauchery, idolatry, and dominance. And when I watched it, I said, "Oh my! No wonder people."
And
that's why
it's desensitizing you to all of those things. So it's nothing for you to talk down to someone. It's nothing for you to say. People that want to kill somebody. I mean, you got children these days that's actually growing up and finding out that their mothers and fathers have these insurance policies, and just because they want to flex on social media, they killing their parents.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to pass the mic. In line with what you said, and everybody's got that story, but in line with what you said, neighbor says something to a young man who is acting out of his character. The guy's 50, the kid's like 11 or 12. And he says, hey, young man, you really should X, Y, and Z. He's your neighbor. He says, young man, what you got to do with it, right? And the guy says, hey, hold on. Let me explain something to you. I'm an adult and blah, blah, blah. And he said, and by the way, he said, I know your father. He said, you know my father. Now, as soon as you say that, you expect, oh, you know my father. Man, okay. He said.
So respect the kick in.
Right. He said, you know my father. He said, so what that mean, man? He said, you gonna tell my father. I said, and then he looked at me and I said, well, that's the end of him. What are we gonna be able to do? If a boy does not draw the line with his own daddy, we're going to draw the line out.
Well, you know,
There is no line.
It just goes all the way back to everything that we always talk about community and parenting and how you're supposed to be involved with your children. Because, of course, these children nowadays have no respect for authority.
None.
They think that they're the authority. And then, you know, single moms raising the boys. And then they think that they're the man of the house. You know what I mean? And the mama's not stopping them from thinking that they the men's of the house, right? And no, boy, you are not the man up in here. Sit down somewhere right now. You know what I mean? And then still go take that damn trash
lot of
out.
these
You know what
parents
I'm
are scared of
saying?
their own
They
children.
not gonna say nothing. So then the boy running around, he thinking that he running things, you know. So when somebody say something to him out in the street or off the pocket, you know, and don't let him be in front of his friends, what's he gonna do? He gonna show off because he has no respect for authority. And then we took away all the teachers' rights in school, where they spend 89% of their time in the schoolhouse with the people that's supposed to run the schoolhouse. What do? We take all the authority away from them. So now that they know that they can run over the schoolhouse, so what do? You know, so the kids are just off the hook.
Absolutely.
All the way around, you know, all the way around. So then they get into relationships, and now, now I'm gonna run you too because no, I run things in my house, and I'm gonna run you too, and that's just what they do, right? You know what I'm saying? So at some point, you know, it's all full circle. We got to get back to community raising. We got to get back to community, and we got to get back to, you know, fathers stepping up and being in their children's lives and making a decision to make sure that they're there, not just paying child support, but there and spending time because that's where it matters. It just always comes full circle.
No, it absolutely does. And I don't know if I missed it, but I have to add on that, you know, and I had a situation last week where I bared witness to a gentleman. So he came in for assistance with something. So basically the woman that he was with constantly has been hitting him. So, but doing it in front of the children. So, right? So now my thinking, well, several things I was thinking at the time, but to kind of go back to your point, where is the respect almost? And now you have children looking at their father. He won't hit her back, not because he's a punk, but because he knows his boundaries. He knows he has control over himself. But yet I only imagine, especially with the intake of other children having their perception, now is daddy a punk? I don't want to be like daddy.
Right.
So that's a whole different learning curve. And then now my mama ain't no punk. It switches up things.
But that's it right there. That's what I was saying earlier. Most of these people have watched abuse in the house and said that won't be me.
Right.
You know, if mama's being abused or daddy. So then when they grow up, they're the total opposite. So if you have a girl who watched her mom abuse and did nothing, she's going to grow up and be the aggressor because now she has a point to prove that I will not be my mother.
Right.
I will not be that woman to be abused. No man ain't going to take my money. No man ain't going to cheat on me. No man is going to do all these things, but yet she's in a relationship with a man.
Yeah.
And doesn't respect
doesn't
the relationship,
anything about
the man,
The
or
man.
even to some degree herself, because she doesn't know herself to respect herself.
Not
She's
at
just going off of what she's seen and what she's just not going to be like. But that goes back to the community raising, because what are we teaching them? There's always combat. You know, we have to fight that and instill.
And you know,
community.
and we got away from listening to the wisdom leaders in our community, which are the older people. You know, people feel like the older people, what can they tell me? A whole lot, like they've been here for like 70 years. You've been here for like 20, like a whole lot. So, you know, we just, it's a lot that we, you know, we that they're missing out on, not having, thinking they know everything.
The crack epidemic has set back family values at least 50 years because people have lost total respect for mothers that has had addiction from the different things that they had to watch her lifestyle. She may have had a young son who had to grow up dealing with the neighborhood boy his age talking about something he was with his mama last night. You know what I'm saying? There's so much that they're dealing with, and I think that when it took a lot away. It took a lot of that whole family moral and that peace that they needed. It has just wiped it out, and that's why it seems like we're going backwards instead of going forward. And like now, I seen today online a photo shoot of a young guy. He looked like he in his early 20s, I guess, maybe 21, 22 at the most. But doing a pregnancy photo shoot with two baby mothers, two pregnant girlfriends. And I'm reading the comments, and you got all this young generation saying, well, at least he honest. They gonna do it anyway. We might as well go with it. At least he did this. They all right.
Both
they
of them.
should be friends. They gotta raise the kid. I'm like, what?
I didn't see that.
This
Girl,
is
he
acceptable?
And they standing on either side of him, and he got his hands on their belly like this.
Oh, it's just
It's
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
And this is what
It's
they are
ridiculous.
accepting. This is what's all right for them. You're like, that's not all right.
That's like what they do in Africa, though.
Well, and I was
Well,
about to hit.
and look,
this
that was
point.
one of the comments too. One of the guys from Africa. We've been doing this all along.
But here's the oh my goodness. So I have to hit the cultural thing, right? So if it's a cultural acceptance and it's done properly, so be it.
Right.
But what I don't agree with is when it's not because of culture, it's just because of ignorance and the way that it's being done. Because, oh, it's cute right now, we're taking this photo shoot, but who had those conversations on how to manage this? Because at the end of the day, yes, they are siblings, but we're still talking about two different households, one man. Who sat down and
he probably
I gotta
broke.
go there for 1 second.
Girl, why somebody else said that they was like, and he is so broke.
He
How
broke.
is that
They
gonna
paid
make
for the
that
photo
responsibility.
shoot.
Nobody
and he
talks
ain't
about
putting out
it. It's
their
cute.
dime. As a matter of fact, he had to ride in one of their cars to get there. 'Cause
Okay,
he ain't
and
got
his
no
outfit.
car. You know,
he
it's
got
just,
to ride by one and the outfit by
you
the
better
other.
hush your
Oh,
mouth.
and they're taking care of him.
Girl, no, we
only
just
assuming.
throwing that out
Y'all
there.
scared me. See, I'm
We throwing it out
That's even
there.
a bigger
Most-
problem.
Most likely, a man that can have two women, one woman is taking care of him.
Yeah.
Usually.
One woman is sitting back taking care of
Oh,
him
yeah.
and allowing
So-
him to do whatever he wants.
So what do you think that we can do or needs to be done though? Because like, you know, even like when I was doing the blended families and parenting event, you know, to see men that do turn around, step up, and they do end up taking care of other men's children, and they marry women that have had children, and women marry men that have had children, and they do this blended family thing well. But what can we do though to get these mindsets to start to change? Because like you said, we can talk to them at a young age. I know you guys just did possibilities. That's always great, right? We starting young, starting to talk to them about unhealthy relationships, blah, 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 blah. So they come to camp once a year, right? So what happens in 3 months? How do we follow up with these girls and to make sure that they continue to know that we're here for them to support them, right? Do we need to create a group space or a group chat for them so that they'll know that let's continue to foster these relationships so that you know that you have this team of people that you can count on. That's what we just gave them, right? You know what I mean? So what do we do to continue to foster this positive movement that we're all on? So when we come back from our break, let's kind of end our talk with what can we do in our community to encourage healthy relationships, and what can we do with our youth?
Are we taking calls?
Yeah. So we'll take a break and we'll be right back. No.
Welcome back. Welcome to Time for a Change with Sherry and McKeon.
Hello. We're back. Of course, we have to take our little 2-minute break. We've been chit-chatting all evening, and we've been discussing a variety of things. If you missed it, please make sure that you tune into the replay. You might have to fast forward a little bit because we started late. But, just go ahead and tune into the replay. And if you have any questions, feel free to call in. The number is posted up right behind me. It's 240-455-5934. And today we're just discussing unhealthy relationships. So before we went on break, I was trying to, I threw out the question of, what can we do in our community to begin to encourage people to have healthy relationships and encourage young folks to continue to come out to things like Camp Possibility like you had. I think that it should be a regular. I don't think that it should be an option. I think that life skills and empowerment and raising our youngsters to live a healthy lifestyle, well-rounded, well-balanced lifestyle should be like a must. You know what I mean? And so I just really want to open the lines up for you guys to call in and tell us what you think we can do with the community and the youth. Hello, caller. Hello. Hi, caller.
Hey, caller. How you doing?
How are you?
Hi, this is young millionaire Tracy. Hi, caller. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, Tracy.
I'm doing fine.
Turn down your background.
I'm just saying that my name is Evelyn, young millionaire Tracy. We have a women's happy hour and stuff where women come together and we help, women to deal with, things, be able to vent with their relationships and stuff like that, and to help and to empower women, you know what I mean, to get through the week and stuff. Single moms with children, married women with cheating husbands.
Turn down your background.
Different little stuff that, women can't never, have to keep silent because they don't really trust everybody and stuff. They don't really trust a lot of people and stuff. So, we just want to invite a lot of women out there to come to our happy hour and stuff and just relax. We have people that you can get your nails done, your feet done, talk, chew, chat. It's food.
Go ahead and share. Go ahead and share.
There's vendors there. There's the massage lady is going to be there. And we just have fun.
Well, go ahead and share that information for me. I see you put it on Facebook, but for those that might just be listening over the internet, go ahead and put the information out there, the time.
Okay, we're at the Young Millionaire Mansion, and it is located at 3521 North 18th Street, and it's Friday from 5 to 9. We usually stay later, but we just want women to go out and enjoy themselves after. If you need to bring children, you have a daycare nanny that's on deck, you know what I mean? So your children are still in the building with you, but you have someone.
You have to turn your volume down.
Painting, all types of stuff. They can watch movies. We have a game room. It's really nice, but the mom still gets.
Tracy.
But the mom still gets to come.
Can she hear us?
And have fun, and don't have to be worried about if the kids is eating and something. Just something to have. To hang out for a couple hours and stuff. So all is welcome.
Okay. I tell you what, Tracy, I won't be here this Friday. I actually start my vacation on Friday. So I won't be here. But I see that you did leave the message on my Facebook page. So let's keep in touch. Let me know. I'd love to come out.
Every Friday is the happy hour.
Every Friday at the Young Millionaire
Mansion.
Mansion.
It's at 3521 North 18th Street. It's on the 18th and Venango. It's the cross street, and we're right on the 3500 of 18th Street.
What city is this?
Are you in D.C.?
No, we're in Philly.
In Philly.
Okay, that's awesome.
Philly, that's cool. All right.
Definitely will pass that
road trip.
Do you ever have
women that come in from Baltimore? They leave right after work, and they get there around about 7 o'clock and stuff. And then when they have their weekends, they girls go out weekend, we go down there and we have the weekend down there.
So do you ever have any guest speakers, or what's the outcome after they leave?
It's a lot. Like, they really happy. We have sisters that's bonding together. Like, we have enough. See, we have like, say that the moms and can't find a babysitter or something like that, or pick their kids up from school. They running late. They can call everybody in a circle and say, "Hey, who's on pick up kid duty? Who's helping?" Watch the baby. I'm frustrated. My baby keep crying.
That's a good sister circle.
Yeah, like a sisters club.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's nice. A nice sisters club. I like that. That's a awesome idea. But you know what? Those are the type of things that I'm saying, right? Those are good suggestions to have, because people do need
Right, so you
encouragement.
don't always have to be dependent on your other half or nothing like that. And, you know, if he just moved into a house, we'll come over and help you paint. There's always somebody in the network. If you need,
That's awesome.
That is
you know,
really,
to get
really awesome.
something done, we network all together, you know, and stuff like that. And it's just been really working out, you know what I mean? Because we women got to learn to stick together, black, white, Puerto Rican, Asian, you know what I'm saying? However, it's, you know, we had a sister that had a fire, didn't have no fire insurance. Sisters got together. We have a fire fund, and they rebuilt her whole house.
Well,
So,
thank
you know,
you so much
this
for.
is what we do. If
Thank
your
you.
child can't get along with you and you having problems,
hear me.
we send them to a sister for the weekend or the week, or, you know, we switch kids. We even do swaps. So, you know what I mean? It's all working out, though.
Well, we really appreciate you calling in.
Yeah.
And we will definitely share that information.
Yeah, definitely. And you, like I said, you shared it on my page. I appreciate that. And whenever you have sessions, feel free to definitely share those on my page. Okay, I appreciate you calling in, Tracy, because that's exactly what we're looking for.
That's amazing. I have a lot of Mexican friends that do that like all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that community is tight.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
tight.
So it's real.
No, it's real.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
real.
she described it.
A sister circle is so important. And those type of things, like she said about women not being able, sometimes they don't trust other people to talk to people,
Right.
you know, and having that social circle will give you that, you know, that trust factor, you know, where I can maybe go to my sisters and talk to them about what I'm going through or something. So I think that was awesome.
You have
out
to have
in Philly.
You have to have that. We even have that in
Philly
our
doing big things.
in our sister circle. We do it amongst our sisters. Like, one sister may have all the kids for the weekend while the other sisters go out and things like that. And we always get together and we sit and we just bounce things off of one another. I know Keisha, she used to always have this thing where we would come, and if like any of the sisters would be going through things, we would have a session called the thinking chair. And you would have to go and sit in that chair and just tell us what you're thinking and see what we can do to support you in that, you know, for whatever you're going through. Maybe you just need to talk, you just need to vent to get something off your chest or whatever. So that is very important.
Yeah.
I think every woman and every man should have a support group like that.
Absolutely.
And like Roland was saying, maybe in those sister circles, if they're discussing what they're doing with the NFL, and they start saying, "Oh, okay, you know what? We're going to take this as a movement, and we're going to support the cause, and we're going to support what's going on." Maybe, like you said, Roland, maybe the sisters will get involved, you know. And like you said, if they're running the house, if they're in the household, and they say, "Hey, okay, we all going to the park today, or out to lunch, or whatever," you know, then that's what's going down. So maybe if, you know, that's a good way to get the sisters talking about. I see Evelyn is still online. To have the sisters talk about the Colin Kaepernick situation and how they'd like to move forward on supporting that cause, please. Thank you.
You was going to say something, Jewel? We forgot to announce that Jewel has come into the studio.
It's okay, I'm just here. No, actually, sorry, I had to go back to the warning signs and all this. But I think it's also a great opportunity for those that are in maybe mid and high risk domestic violence situations to connect with people, because that's one of the one of the most important things to do when you're in a high risk situation is to make sure that you have a connection with somebody that your spouse or your partner doesn't know, because if you need to run somewhere, then unfortunately the spouse or the partner usually knows, oh, gonna be at sister's house, mom's house, and then now everybody's in danger. But in order to make sure that you're safe, it's good to have connections, good positive support connections to go to. So I think that's also a good idea for that as well.
So tell me, what is the what do you think about the follow up with the girls, like afterwards? How do you guys plan on following up with the girls that just left camp?
You want to go? Sorry.
Well, they're already a part of the program. They are part of the 4-H program and also Maryland Park and Planning.
Okay.
So we just came in as a facilitator to do a workshop with them, and also, with them partnering with other community organizations like Sisters for Sisters. They was able to bring in their camp, was Daughters of Destiny. So it's just like multiple camps coming together, but individually they are working with these young ladies and boys on a regular.
Right.
Yes, they are working with them on a regular. Okay. And a lot of them, what I have learned, they are returned campers. Like a lot of them have been a part of this camp and things. Some was saying 4 years and 5 years.
Okay.
And like we had some teenage counselors in training, and they have been through the program because you start at 9, you go to 15. So they follow you at least for those years. And it's an awesome program because they all knew each other.
Well, that's awesome.
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
That's what I was getting at, because I didn't want it to be just this one thing during the summer,
and then that's it,
and then we leave them.
I definitely think there are good best practices. So definitely, and we all know that a lot of the frontliners, they also have other obligations, maybe in their own homes, at work, and with the organizations that they're a part of. But even to make it a habit to once a month have regular meetings. And I know a lot of our partners, they even send text messages, positive text messages every morning. So those little things that you put in practice are huge, because I know, just to be reminded, I think even for us as adults, sometimes we need to be reminded what we need to stay focused on, or if we're having a bad day, to see something, or know that, hey, if I need to, I could reach out to such and such. So I think those little things go such a long way.
Oh, yeah.
It goes such a long way. Do. And that 1 minute, 5 minutes can probably change somebody's life. That one word can change a life. So those are best practices.
And I think we're all on the same accord here. I'm just glad that we're all finally to the point where groups are really communicating and collaborating together, so that we can get on this mission and movement together to empower our community.
Absolutely.
Because that's all it's about.
And another thing that I want to share, when you say how do we follow up, I really believe that the school board needs to come on board with this whole thing, because if they incorporate a program into the school where they can get this for at least those 10 months out of a year, where it's like a class that they go to, that is drilled into them how to recognize a healthy relationship.
But you know what they not. Just like they kicked out economics. What was it?
I loved home ec. I learned how to cook. I learned how to sew.
I learned how to cook.
I made a car out of some wood.
The woodwork class.
Woodwork. We made houses.
I got my car.
They kicked those out. So you know that they not into no life skills, life training, and life skills classes, and they not into that.
They kick it out of the Jewish school.
See,
no, and
that's because it's not because they didn't kick it out the Jewish school. It's because the Jewish parents wouldn't allow it to be kicked out. So we as parents in these communities gotta say, okay, I just ain't have to accept that this is what they're doing.
That's why I always
we don't have to accept that. We can say no. Okay, that's your plan. Well, here's ours.
That's
right.
And
make them at least meet you in the middle.
Absolutely,
at least meet you in the middle.
Absolutely.
I always say to parents, you got to be involved. If you're not involved, you ain't doing nothing. You got to be involved.
You have to be
involved. If you were attending PTA meetings and you were regularly involved, you would have some say.
You would have
but
some
you're
say.
not involved. You're not serving on any type of committees. You're not volunteering in the classroom, so you don't know what's
Sometimes
going on.
the teachers don't even know your face or
They
your
don't.
name.
Oh my goodness.
How does that happen? And nowadays, y'all have the ability to send emails, and half parents don't even send no emails.
And I will have to say a couple of my teachers knew me by email. They may not have known my face,
Right.
depending on the child, but they knew my dang on name.
They
You
definitely
have to be
knew
more
email.
active in,
No,
in your
yeah.
children's
You have to.
education.
You have to.
You have to.
And start going to these schools and PTAs and saying, y'all heard it from us that we want to get into the school systems and start teaching these
Yes.
children these life skills and these life changing or grooming lessons,
Yes.
right? And yeah, we need to start raising well-balanced, well-rounded children and tell them that time for change is ready to come. So, but yeah, we got to start wrapping up. Time goes by so fast. It really
Yeah,
does.
it is.
Flies when you're having fun, right?
Always.
Always.
Wish I had more time.
But I thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you. Remember, we're here the first and second Monday of every month from 6:30 to 8. Time for a change with Sherry. And today we had our guest, Jewel.
Yay.
Yay.
Thank you for having me. I love coming here.
She loves coming
I
here. We love having you.
Thank you.
So, yeah, definitely tune in. See you guys soon.
Peace.
See